Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope everybody's having a good week. Starting out nice Tuesday here. Short week. Got a little holiday action on Monday, a little distraction on Monday, mixed in with a little weather. Always makes things interesting. But we're not talking about weather today. We're going to talk about what is not cold, what is hot in the market this year. And actually, I'm going to take a quick look at last year, what the hardest market in the country was. And then we're going to fast forward to what the predictions are for 2025. But I'm going to bring on my a good friend of mine is going to be joining me today. And actually, this friend coincidentally had temperatures that were mirroring my temperatures. And when I bring her on, you're gonna see why it's pretty odd and pretty strange because of where she's located. So I'm going to bring her on in all the way from Austin, Texas. Angie Ufomata.
Hey. What's up, everybody?
You know,
hey, y'all.
Angie, you sent me a picture this morning.
Yes.
You sent me a video of your backyard and your pool. And you had snow in Austin.
No,
You had snow.
I know. I actually feel like you sent that for me, Jen.
What's weird is like we had our first real, like I used my snowblower for the first time Sunday.
Oh.
For the first time this year. And we only had like 3 inches of snow.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Here,
it's not. We don't get snow like we used to. You know what I mean? We don't. But so it's really weird that the south coast of this country is getting crazy, like even like blizzard conditions or something I read. So
it's bad. And y'all know we're not prepared, not in Texas necessarily, for snow like that. So school was shut down. So if y'all hear little people in the background, it's my humans.
Your humans.
Yeah, it's my little humans. And so it's unsafe actually for us to be on the road with kids and things like that because we just don't have enough salt or whatever. But yeah, it's cold. It was in the 20s this morning. The high today is like 36.
You know, that's a real deal that you all aren't prepared, and I'll tell you why. Because I lived in Louisiana for a year when I was first grade. I was young, super young, right? And we had moved from upper state New York. I was born in Western Mass, but we had moved up to New York, and it went right from upper state New York, I think. We moved around a lot down to Louisiana. And I'm like, with the cockroaches and crawfish and all the things. And then I would walk to school every day. And then one day, right, I'm used to snow. They had a dusting. And and my mom says, "You're not going to school." I'm like, "Why not?" Yeah. I'm going to walk to school. My best friend, we're going to stop at her dad owned a donut shop. We get like hot donuts every morning. It was the life, right? And she's like, "No, this is a snow day." And I'm like, and my mother would tell me stories because, of course, I don't know. It's a long time ago. I don't remember. But my mother would tell me stories like, she's like, "You were so confused." But they just, like, it wasn't even enough to like, you couldn't do anything with it. You're not going sledding or anything. But they were not, for the smallest amount, Baker, Louisiana, they were not equipped to deal with anything, And so there's, I mean, why would they? Why would they put that in their budget?
That's true. So that's literally similar. Now, are we more prepared than previous years? Yeah, because
I would hope so.
Apocalypse and all that, but that doesn't mean that we're fully equipped just yet.
Right. It's bonkers. It's bonkers.
So we're
but
home.
It is crazy. I wanted to see if I can pull this up here. Little bit of housekeeping. Let me see if I can get my. Oh, there we go. Oh, it popped up twice in the chat. Trigger finger. That's what that is, a trigger finger. I'm going to pull it up on the screen as well. If you guys want to call in, I have a hotline, a call-in hotline. If you guys a call-in hotline. If you guys want to have a question featured, I'm just, you know what? That's the third time's a charm. I'm a hot mess tonight. 3 times. I guess I'm making a statement by putting it 3 times in the chat. That is not intentional. Anywho, call the number 508-591-3228. Leave your name, your first name, where you're calling from, and your question. And I'm going to play your audio, match it up with a cute little animation, and then answer your question. So if you've got a question that is aside from any of the videos, the live streams, or whatnot, you want me to answer it on the live stream, just call that number, leave me a message.
That's pretty.
And we will take care of business. Taking care of business. So speaking of which, we're going to talk about the markets that the hottest market in the country from last year, and then we're going to look at the hottest market heading into 2025, and we're going to dissect these. And I was a little surprised on one, but not the other. So, shall we dig right in?
Let's go.
So this data comes from Realtor.com. Hello, Sir Matney in the house.
Hey.
Realtor.com, surprising Illinois, I used to call as a kid, Illinois city, becomes the hottest housing market for the first time. And Illinois City is making it a name for itself in a positive way. This is the article. And giving residents something to boast about, Rockford has jumped to the top of the Realtor's hottest housing markets for the first time, shaking up the rankings to ring in the new year. Rockford, Illinois was ranked number 1 on the list in December, edging out this was interesting. It was edging out perennial favorite Manchester, New Hampshire, which has claimed the top spot a whopping 31 times since the rankings began in 2017. That surprised me. That legitimately surprised me. So in Rockford, with a median list price of just, get this, $242,000. Median price, $242,000. We're going to find out why in a second. Homes are moving quickly, typically spending just 43 days on the market compared to the national median of 70 days. Rockford's hotness. Angie, is that a word? Hotness?
That's a word. I'm going to say it.
I read that. I'm like, really? Okay, we'll go with it. Rockford's hotness means that high demand is met with low inventory as buyers claim available homes, according to Hannah Jones at Realtor.com. This affordable area has seen sustained demand this year as mortgage rates and home prices deter buyers from searching in higher-priced areas. Listings in Rockford attracted nearly 3 times as many viewers on Realtor.com last month than the national average, indicating the high level of buyer interest in homes in the northern Illinois city. Check this home out, Angie. This is a riverfront 3-bedroom home in Rockford, Illinois, $289,000.
That's crazy. Seriously.
With a garage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It says Rockford, located about 90 miles northwest of Chicago and 90 miles southeast of Milwaukee, topped last year's Wall Street Journal Realtor.com housing markets to watch list, which identifies the strongest housing markets in the nation with good potential for future growth. I remember talking about Illinois in general and Chicago earlier this year. But I didn't remember them talking about Rockford. So it says the area. So here's where we get into the nitty gritty. The area is home to several hospital systems, aerospace companies, which is interesting, and manufacturing jobs. Still, Rockford's unemployment rate stood at 8.1% as of November, nearly double the national average. So I dug into why Rockford? Okay. What's the deal? Do you know anything about Rockford, Annie?
No.
Angie? I'm going to tell you.
Never heard.
And anybody who's watching, if you know something about Rockford, if you have any stories or inside information, pop it in the chat. So I did some detective work. It has a lot to do with the crime rate. A lot to do with the crime rate. So this article, and actually there were a ton of articles. You type in just, what's wrong with Rockford, Illinois. and it was just article after article after article talking about the crime rate. And this is a moving company, straight line moving, moving lines, moving straight line moving by Allied. Rockford, Illinois crime rate statistics. This was as of July, so mid-year last year, and it says that. And this was interesting. It says that Rockford is the largest city in Illinois outside of Chicagoland, which, as you know, Angie, when you're talking about large cities, I mean, you look at Boston,
Yep.
which is a terrific, there's so many historic sites and there's great places to eat and an awesome place to visit and all the different things. Is there high crime in Boston? Well, yeah, because you have a high
Mhm.
density of high density
People.
population. You got a lot of people living together, you
Yeah.
know? It says, despite being, and get this, despite being ranked as one of the top 25 most dangerous places in the US,
Mhm.
a side note, you know what one of those 25 places is?
Where?
Memphis.
Oh, I could see that.
And
Mhm.
I didn't know that until I was already there 2 years
Oh,
ago
oh,
with my daughter. Okay, we get to the hotel room and I turned the TV on and the news was on and I started listening to the news and I go, oh my God. Wait, I took her to go to Graceland. And I go, oh my God, what did I do? Oh my God, what did I do? And then I'm like, right, that's why the receptionist said, don't walk down to Beale Street after dark.
no.
Huh, okay.
You
Now
get a
it's all making
warning,
sense.
make a U-turn.
But anyways, it says, despite being ranked as one of the top 25 most dangerous places in the U.S., Rockford was ranked one of the best places to live in America by U.S. News and World Report in 2023, and one of the best places to retire. So
All right.
right? So it says U.S. News considered crime rate data with Census Bureau data, information by the Department of Labor and Internal Resources that shows how much Rockford, Illinois has to offer in other important areas like quality of life and affordability. It's natural to be concerned about crime before moving to a new city or neighborhood. While the Rockford, Illinois crime rate is high, violent crime has been declining for the past 3 years. A recent poll from the Rockford Area Convention and Visitors Bureau also found 17% of residents feel safer compared to 5 years ago, and 25% feel fewer people feel unsafe. Here's everything you should know, and then it goes on to how the Rockford crime rate, how they calculated what they took into consideration. I'll just fast forward to the box, to
Mhm.
the magic data box. So,
There.
so like, if you're okay with violent crimes, but like, robberies, you're okay with,
Yeah.
or homicides, maybe
Property.
homicides are not your thing, or you're okay with, then maybe that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
and then here's
know.
the other piece of that too is like, every city, every town is going to have some sort of crime, right? And you've got those bad apple seeds, or you've got people who are desperate in situations. I would say personally, this is what I would do. I would take these stats and compare it to another city of its similar population.
Oh,
Just
yes.
because if you
Yep.
do that, what you might find is that the crime here is not as high as another city that has similar population. That's what I would do. So don't knock it until you dig one more layer deep.
I concur. I mean, you look at like, okay, you're down in Austin, and Austin, when I think of Austin, and I did a little research because my brother and family moved down there, so went down to visit a couple times and stuff, and and I'd never been, so I researched it, and it's like, oh wow, it's the live musical, unofficial live music capital of the country, and it's got
Mhm.
all kinds of, I got a cool airport, that's for sure, and
Oh,
it's eclectic and all the things. I'm sure there's crime because
yeah.
it's a city, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just natural to it's not, no place is immune, right?
No, no. And we do have it. And oh, the other thing to take in consideration is what type of crime. So I'm glad you pulled up this chart because, if the homicides are off the charts, that might be more concerning than property crime.
Yep. Which is interesting. And all kidding aside, that the violent crime between 22 and 23. What's this little drop down? Oh, okay. Oh, look at that.
Okay,
Okay,
look
all
at
right,
you.
okay, all right. I see you. Um, so what do we got here? Oh, people shot. That's fun. That's a fun statistic. Anyhow,
That's
sorry. You look at, but people, it's down 30%. Guns
yeah.
recovered down 21%. Aggravated assault down 19%. Violent crime down 7. I mean, these are all negative numbers. It's not until you get into, property crimes,
Mhm.
homicides. There's got to be a story behind that
Has to
on
be.
what's going on there, and of increased like gang activity or whatnot. But the reality of it is if it's the most in this day and age, if it's the most affordable um, community in the country,
Mhm.
I would like to see. It'll be interesting to see in a year from now what the Census Bureau, what the population numbers are, because
That's true.
you add more people, and it's just simple math. Sidonia, hey, welcome. Welcome
Yeah.
back. Sidonia says I spent a bit of time in Rockford. It very much reminded me of Detroit. Very working class, some good areas, definitely potential, but a lot of not so great areas. But that was about a decade ago. And I guess you know what? You learn to avoid those areas,
Yeah.
and getting back to Memphis. um I had a viewer reach out to me for a referral, and it was within the area of Memphis, but it was like, a little bit on the outside, whatever, and outside circle. And I called an agent down there, and she asked me where it was, asked me where the property was, and she's like, you know what, that area is a great area, but, you know, 3 streets, 4 streets over, not so much. And there were
Right.
certain areas that she's like, yeah, I'm not really excited about doing business in that area because of what I mentioned earlier, but it's just, you just know, you get to know the area. And that's why
You
it's
do.
so important, especially if you're relocating to a brand new area, know nothing about it. I don't know about you, when I have folks that are looking to, spend some time or looking to move into an area, and I've had actually quite a few, um, on the heels of the election. Everybody
Mhm.
tends to, especially this one, people are moving around a little bit. And I've had a couple people that want to come into Massachusetts, but they've never been here. So the first thing I tell them is, you need to spend some time here. You
Oh,
need to
yeah.
come and drive around and explore, and just not look at any homes, but just spend some
Mhm.
time in the community.
Yes.
See if it's your community first. Then we'll go to the next step if it passes the test. And I think that's what you got to do.
So important.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not just the digital research, but yeah, if you can be present, that's even better.
Yeah, digital research will only get you so far. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I mean, there's nothing replacing. Um, I mean, yeah, it's an expense, and sometimes you don't have that luxury if you're being transferred, from, job transfer, or, something of that nature, where you really don't have the time to do a ton of
Yeah,
research. But I would say more often than not, you do, right?
at least a little bit, and when you're here too, just to add on top of that, I usually have my folks, they come in that first day, I kind of like them to drive around themselves, right? Because that's
Yep.
the experience. You get a different sense, that sixth sense as you drive around. And it's something that I can't tell you. It's something that Google or AI can't tell you. It's a feeling that you get when you're driving around. It's
Yep.
so important. And then
110%.
second, if you see somebody, stop them, ask questions.
Well,
Hey.
you bring up a great point, because I mean, I feel like, definitely as a society, we've changed. We have changed so much, to the point where, we're as a society, people, I think there's a comfort level that you have to step outside your comfort level just to talk to someone
Mhm.
nowadays. Oftentimes, I find myself, if I spend too much time behind the computer, it's like, I gotta pick up the phone.
Gonna talk
I'm
to
like,
somebody? I know.
what am I doing? because it's just like that's the nature of the world, we live in to a certain degree. But it's the type of thing that you don't know till you get there. And I've had some folks reach out and ask, like, how do you buy a house
Mhm.
if you're like, you know what, I don't want to be here, but I don't know for certain that I want to be there. How, and I can't just jump on a plane like
Right.
14 times and fly back and forth, back and forth. And
Mhm.
so what I typically will tell people is, if you can, try to get your boots on the ground, one one intense fact finding mission here. Like, or wherever you're going, spend several days,
Yeah.
as much time, see as much as you can, take
Mhm.
notes. And I tell them, like, I'm not coming with you because you got to explore. I want you to explore. I don't want you to be like, okay, we're going here. Because what
Yeah.
happens when that you like, it's like following GPS, Angie.
It is.
Back in the day, before
Back in
GPS, you actually had to like go through the map and like be like, and then you'd have to like, okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, now I have to pay attention and I have to remember the
Mhm.
street sign. And it's like you actually knew where the heck you were going because you were
Right.
forced to, because you don't have somebody telling you. Now you do the GPS and you like zone out because the GPS is going to hopefully
That's
not drive
right.
you into a ditch. But more, you know what I'm saying? It's like, half the time I'm just following GPS. And I'm like, I have no idea how I got here, but I'll just take GPS and get home. Like I'm going to the city or something,
Yeah.
And and I think that's the reason why I tell folks that are visiting, not because I'm like trying to get out of, you know, spending time or whatever. It's nothing
Right.
to do with it. Nothing to do with it. It's beneficial for them to explore and go, because then if they can't come back and
Mhm.
say, I might give them like, based on our conversations, I might say, hey, listen, check out this big neighborhood, check out this
Yeah.
area of town, check out that area of town. And I had a couple that was looking at a property here. They were in California and they came out, I think twice. And they did exactly that. And then the second time we looked at a couple houses, and several 3 4 months goes by and a property popped up and it was ideal.
Yeah.
Well, they had driven through the neighborhood. So
That
now
oh my gosh,
I'm
critical.
going to the property with my, my camera and all, my equipment and all the things, and either doing a FaceTime or a Zoom call while I'm there if the self receptionist can handle it, or take a video,
Mhm.
and which I've done, and to put my drone up in the air and take aerial photo, video and all the things. They made an offer on it without seeing it, which is not for everybody. But the thing is they already knew the neighborhood. And I wouldn't
Right.
recommend doing that unless you knew the neighborhood. And that's the benefit of doing that fact finding mission beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
That's
So,
the same. I agree with all of that, and that's the same process that I encourage people to do for sure.
yep,
Necessary, and then they can make decisions when they're away because they're like, "Oh, yeah, I do know that neighborhood. We like that. It was on our list. We made notes about it."
you got it. Hey,
Mhm.
the other thing I wanted to bring up about Rockford, which I thought was interesting, was that they had it wasn't just the crime. One of the reasons why the median sale price, and we're talking about, for those just joining, Rockford, Illinois was the hottest market in December 2024, with a median price of $242,000, which is bonkers. But
Yep.
they've had unemployment rate rises, so it kind of falls into the thing of of the whole um, perspective of the more desirable a place is. It doesn't make these places completely undesirable, but the more it has to offer, the
Right.
more the more you have of people that want to be there,
Mhm.
that drives up demand. And when you have more demand, then people will pay more to live there. This
Yep.
was July last year, and it just went over some new the latest numbers at that point in time, and it says it shows the unemployment rate was increasing in all of Illinois, 14 metro areas, and then since July 23, the Rockford area unemployment rate increased by 0.5% from 6.2 to 6.7. Um, And then it just goes on to say data also shows total non-farm jobs increased in 5 metro areas, decreased in 6, and stayed the same in 3. Rockford saw one of the largest decreases with 1,900 non-farm jobs disappearing
Wow.
between 23 and 24. It says the Davenport, Moline, Rock Island Metro saw the largest change with a decrease of 2,000 jobs. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't research that. I don't know why that is for that
Yeah.
particular area. So I'd have to dig into that a little bit deeper. But thought that was interesting. So that's 2024. Let's go on to 2025.
What's going on in 25?
2025. So this city in New York has the hottest housing market in the U.S. Okay, so this is January 16th. This was a couple days ago. For the second year in a row, Zillow, a real estate website, I love how they have to put that in there, predicts that it's like these little babies are being born, and their first words are Zillow. It's like everybody knows about Zillow these days. Sorry. So it predicts that a specific city in New York will be the most competitive for buyers in the coming year in the United States. Buffalo, New York is predicted by Zillow to have the hottest housing market in the U.S. It has topped the list thanks to having the most new jobs per new home permitted. Additional sellers held strong negotiations advantage throughout last year. Their market heat index found the average home value in Buffalo in 2024 was $260,537. This is although affordability has improved slightly compared to last year, it's still top of mind for home buyers. Lower than average home prices and rent costs in Buffalo and Midwest metro areas like Indianapolis, St. Louis, and Kansas City have driven demand in these areas, pushing them to the top of the ranking. Hot markets are found, and this is no surprise, Northeast, Great Lakes, South regions, and expanding into the Midwest and West. This is meanwhile a tri-state area city also cracked the top 5. This I knew was coming. Hartford, Connecticut came in as the city with the 4th hottest housing market in the country, according to Zillow. I am not surprised. My daughter went to college there, University of Hartford, and their city was went through some tough times, went through some serious tough times, and it has been over the last 5 years or so. I don't know what the exact timeline is, but the over recent years has been revived. Big time, absolutely big time. But because it's a rebuild in process, it is absolutely, it's still very, very affordable. So here's the list for the top 10, Angie, or it actually goes 50, but I am not reading 50. You got 50. So you get like Buffalo number 1. And then we've got, and these are the hottest markets. These are not the most affordable. These are the hottest markets. And I'm actually going to jump over to how that is determined here in a second. But this is overall actually, I'll just jump over now. Why tease it up, right? So this is the actual article. I just like the way the other article presented it. It says, what makes these markets hot? It says, to come up with the list of hottest markets, Zillow analyzed 50 largest U.S. metro areas, and they looked at home value growth, projected change in owner-occupied households, job growth compared to new construction, and the speed at which homes sold. It says new jobs often attract new residents, and with that comes increasing competition for homes, which can drive home prices higher unless new construction can keep up with that revved up demand. Rising numbers of owner-occupied households is a sign of family formation and population growth. So now you know the how they determine it.
Right.
We go back to this list, and you've got Buffalo at the top, Indianapolis which we knew. Providence, Rhode
Yep.
Island, which
That's
I
an
thought was
interesting one to me.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, Providence has Brown University. It has RISD, Rhode Island
Yep.
School of Design, very famous. I mean, a lot of famous artists come out of RISD. There's a lot of culture. They do a lot
I mean,
with
that's what it is then.
art. It reminds me of maybe, not really, maybe like a small Austin. Like it's very artsy community.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But expensive, a little more expensive, 484,000. So which is still, approaching like the median home price in the country.
Right.
Hartford,
Very good.
Philadelphia, which
Oh, really?
Philly's been creeping up. Like all
Okay.
last year, we saw that Philly was on the list for a hot area. A lot of people moving to Philly, in and around that area. St. Louis, Missouri,
I knew that one.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I knew Charlotte.
Did you?
I did.
Kansas City, Richmond, Virginia. And then it goes down Salt Lake City, Utah, Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati,
Cincinnati.
WKRP in
I got
Cincinnati,
family
Columbus, Ohio, et cetera, et cetera. This whole list. If you guys want me to post the link on this article, I can do that. David, thanks for comment. He says, David says, do you think a good way to interview a realtor for buying a home is to have them show you a home you are interested in? Absolutely, that can be a way. 110%. Because if aside from, having that list of questions, the questions that you should ask them in terms of, what their process is, what they're going to bring to the table. What are you going to pay them? Well, show me the money. What are you going to give me for my money? But when the boots meet the ground, yeah, I mean, and you do that the way I would do that. And that's a total valid way of doing it. But the way I would do that is make it very clear, because it is a requirement if that agent is a member of the National Association of Realtors. They're going to be required to have you sign a buyer agency agreement.
Right.
That is just part of the agreement that we have with the NAR. That if we're part of the NAR, this is the procedure we have to follow. Period. However, I would make it very clear that it is for that showing on that day. Not just that showing for not based on the property. And I'm going to tell you why. And Angie, you can tell me if you agree or disagree. Because I'm open to other ideas, other viewpoints. The reason I say don't do it by the property, because say you meet them, you go tour this property, you sign it for that property, not for any particular time period, you say for that property only. And you find out that the agent you met is a shyster, an 80% agent, I like to call them, right? The people that are just not worth half of what they're asking to be paid. They are not going to work in your best interest to negotiate on your behalf at the offer, the home inspection. They're not forthcoming on what you should be looking for, so on and so forth. And you're like, you know what, this agent kind of stinks. I don't want to work with this agent. But then you fall in love with the property. And you do want to make an offer, but you're like, I don't want to work with this agent. Well, if you made an agreement for that property, now you're legally, because it's a legally binding contract, you're kind of stuck with that agent. To a certain degree, you're technically contractually bound to that agent. But an easy out would be that home that day, and then you book an appointment with another agent. Now, do I recommend that you do this on every single agent? And because there's a lot of hardworking agents out there that are like, you don't want to mislead people. You don't want to. It wouldn't, to try to be fair to the agent that are just, the agents that are legitimately trying to make a living. But it won't be an issue if the agent demonstrates their value. And that's the thing is you go into it, if you're legitimately looking to interview the agent, and you're just telling them, listen, I don't know you, and I'm not comfortable committing to you until I see how you operate. And a good agent is not going to push back. A good agent's going to say, okay, you know what? I'm looking out for your best interests and not mine. And it's in your best interest for you to know who you're working with, and you make sure you're working with the right person. So that agent won't, but an agent that pushes back is obviously looking out for their own best interest. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I
What do
have a
you
little bit of
think?
a twist on that.
Yes,
One,
please share because because you work with a lot of buyers, right?
yes, 80% of my business is relocation to the Texas area. And so I would say if an agent is really, really busy and they actually don't have a lot of time to be able to do a shorter showing, they may refer it out, which don't be offended by that. It's just that they've got a stack full of clients that they're working with that have already committed long term with. And so I would refer that out if it were me, just because I'm already so booked as to where I am helping people move here. So it may not just be a bad thing too. It may just be that particular agent just doesn't have the time to do it to be able to invest in that shorter time frame.
Yep.
And so that's okay too. The other part is that in Texas, we have in our buyer agreements a protection period. So we can't even list that I know of a specific address anyway. But there
Really?
is a protection period of if I showed property over a weekend for 3 days and a client comes back. Now, it's difficult to prove, you'd have to really fight it. It might be 60 days that if you saw
Wow.
a property and 60 days, you're 50 days into it, you decide to make an offer on the property that you saw with me, for example, then that would still be under our agreement.
Well, and you know what? I'm going to say yes and no. And here's why, Angie. Because within getting into the nitty gritty here, right? There is a clause that the general public, the buyer, you guys don't like it. You don't, you shouldn't care. You don't have to care about this. This is for us to know about what we're supposed to do. What we are supposed to know our profession. But there's a little thing called procuring cause. And what procuring cause says in the National Association of Realtors is the agent who is entitled to get paid is the agent that is responsible for procuring the offer. They're the ones that triggered the offer. So you have an agent that has a contract. Having a contract is not, you could cancel that contract, but I would think it would be, and I could be off base on this, okay, but it is my understanding is the way we do things here in Massachusetts. If someone else is coming in and say the buyers, because the consumer's in charge at the end of the day. And if the buyer says, you know what, I know I signed a contract, but I don't want to work with that agent. Tom
Yeah.
Jones is a jerk. He was rude to me. I want to cancel that contract. He is not going to be the reason I bought this house. I want to work with Angie.
Mm.
She's my gal. I want to work with Angie. I know Tom showed me the house, but I want Angie. I think the consumer has that right and should have that right because they're the ones paying. They're the ones that are the holding the check. They're the ones making the decisions, and the consumer shouldn't be cornered. And I think we're talking about we're assuming that this is happening with an agent that's lousy, not
Mm.
a buyer that's like trying to be not nice to a good
Yeah.
agent. Do you know what I'm saying? Two different things.
I would, before signing, I would check everybody because every state's different, right?
Yes,
And they
ma'am.
align with the National Associations of Realtors, but I would check to make sure what, procuring cause is what maybe they call it there where you are. For me, it's a protection period that's included in our agreement just to be sure.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, Angie. I think it's for all the information that I give from a very top level. Absolutely, there's going to be nuances. There's
Yeah.
there's California. Holy cow, they've got
That's
contracts
a
for
whole different
contracts
beast.
for contracts like it's bonkers. We don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
any of that. I don't agree with half of what they have, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely right. I think that connecting with the right agent. That being said, and I always talk about interviewing multiple agents. It's the same whether you're listing your house or buying your house. I think you got to talk to three people and
You
do
do.
your due diligence. Um, hey Nicole, good to see you. See you or thanks for chiming in. Can't really see you. Not yet. Technology is getting a little scary. Nicole says, I'm a little nervous about asking a 20% agent. And those who are watching that may not know what that is, I talk about my feelings that 80% of the agents in the real estate industry are lousy and unprofessional. They just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They're not students of their profession. While the 20%, and honestly, it's probably less than 20% of the agents are highly, highly, highly skilled, professionals, always put their clients first, will go extra miles, the whole 9 yards. She says, I'm a little nervous about asking my 20% agent to do too much work for me to buy land sight unseen. I feel like I'm asking a lot for properties that are in the $3,000 to $5,000 range. So first off, that's very kind of you, Nicole. Because you're now putting the agent's best interest, you're thinking of the agent before yourself. And you are very, very kind. But I will say this. That is not for you. Do not worry about this is what our job is. The agent that you are working with will give you guidance. They will tell you up front,
Right.
Hey, listen, you know what? Here's the strategy. It's not that, I won't do it. But before I get too deep, let's weed these out. So it's not like, I'm looking for a VA, a house that qualifies for VA. Yeah. So we're going to take every single house and we're going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. We're going to see if it makes sure it gets approved. We're going to have our VA guy go out and we're going to go down the town hall and we're going to pull permits. We don't do that in every house. Yeah. No, you do surface, high level. You look at the area. You do a walkthrough. You look at the neighbors. That type of thing. You do like a surface. Weeding out the property. Yeah. Then you go deep. That would be the same situation on something like that. And and buying land on sight unseen to protect yourself, you just do contingencies. With the offer, you say, okay, you know what? I don't even know if I'm going to be able to buy it until I, get an accepted offer. Then you go, a little deeper.
Let the agent definitely guide you in that and narrow down some of the lots that you're looking at, and then ask a ton of questions. And I don't know what you're using your land for, but here in Texas, we're big on land. But giving yourself enough time to be able to bring out somebody who can, estimate what kind of septic you need. If it doesn't have utilities, checking all those things out are going to be important. So ask a bunch of questions, but the agent should be able to guide you as to what to do.
I know you've said, Nicole, I know you've been on here so many times, and I apologize. And I feel like I've asked you this before. Where are you looking that you've got land in the $3,000 to $5,000?
Yeah, because I want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know. Like, is it like a little sliver you can barely put a shed on it, or it's like, no running water for like two hours, or like,
that's great.
What's the dealio there, right? You live off grid. Some of those off grid properties, I have a like a guilty pleasure of watching those off grid property videos. The ones that get like the rainwater and the solar panels and all the natural thermal heat and all the things. I would never do it.
Yeah.
I'm a wicked creature comfort girl. I like my running water and bathrooms and heat and all the things. Yeah. Like, I like my creature comforts, but the idea of it is fascinating. Let's see. I wanted to get into, I wanted to share actually real quick, for those that are interested, the other states, the other metros in that list.
25.
Okay, so 2025. This is what Zillow is saying is going to be a top metro. It goes from 10 to 1. All right, so the top 10 is very similar to 2024. So Salt Lake City,
okay,
right? Pushing up typical home value of $555,000.
Sounds like Austin.
Mm-hmm. Richmond, Virginia. I have spent some time, a little bit. I went to a couple conferences in Richmond, and man, their architecture is. I went to some old churches down there. It was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This is home sale on average 9 days.
Wow.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Home value is expected to increase 2.7%. It would make the typical home worth $307,000.
That's still pretty good.
Still pretty good. Homes go from listing to pending in 9 days. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Love it
Little
there.
streetcar action there, 389,000. Looking to appreciate about 3.2% next year. St. Louis, Missouri. Got all these pretty pictures.
I know.
Could live any one of these places. 254,000.
Hey.
Angie. They're looking at a 1.9% in 2025 increase. Good old Philly.
Okay.
Philly, city of brotherly love. They're expecting 2.6% growth next year. Good old Hartford, Connecticut.
Well, we got it Hartford.
And which does like my daughter was in West Hartford, and it's like you get off the highway, it's city, and then it's boom. And she had like a river running through the campus. She had to go over like a wooden bridge, and it was in the woods. It was good. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Homes in Hartford forecast to reach 378,000 in 2025, 4.2% increase. Good old Providence, Rhode Island. Don't try to find a place to park in Providence. You'll be driving around for days. That's the one thing that when we went down for our college tour, it was like after driving around for 15 minutes, my daughter was like, yeah, this isn't working for me.
It's like, don't want to live here.
There's no parking. Parking is terrible. Let's see here. Try to say this word, Angie.
What is this?
It says Italian-style bridges that traverse the Woonasquatucket River. Home values are expected to grow by 3.7%. A slowdown from the 7% increase logged in 2024. Indianapolis, Indiana. Look at that beautiful sunset. 285,000 in 2025 for a median price. And then good old Buffalo, New York.
Look at that. Historic.
Buffalo, New York. So side note on Buffalo. So that is, it's right where they have, actually, and I have some data on that too, like what the dealio is with Buffalo. But Buffalo is like, that's where people go to Niagara Falls. That's where my family, we took our family to stay, and we saw like a KOA on the Buffalo side, went over the bridge, saw the Niagara Falls from the Canadian side, came back over to.
That just closed on a house there.
Did you really?
Yeah, they were competitive. I've got some agent partners up there. It's pretty competitive home pricing. It's
pretty crazy. I will tell you, and this is kind of a sad note, but also positive note, I guess. I don't know. Try to pull the positive from everything. So, when we were there 10 years ago, my husband at the time had a massive stroke, which is not great. But come to find out, Buffalo, New York has the top stroke hospital in the country.
Wow.
Go figure. I thought I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, just get me back to Boston. Let's get it back to Boston. Boston's where it's at. It's like, and then and the paramedics are like, no, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
And they were terrific. They were absolutely terrific. So, so I pulled this up, the 10 pros and cons of living in Buffalo, because we want to know like why.
Yes.
Why, Angie? Why Buffalo?
Why are you going to Buffalo?
Why are you going to Buffalo? Exactly. So we got this article. This was June last year. Okay, June 24. I try to get as recent as possible. So they got rich history in architecture. Okay. Look, his monthly rent $1,200, $1,234.
Wow.
Bonkers. $185,000 median home sale price. So we got rich history. Here's a big surprise. Con, harsh winter weather. Yeah, if you don't like the snow,
it's not for you.
You ain't going to Buffalo.
No.
The football
you
team's
ain't
doing
going
pretty
to
good this
Texas
year.
either, apparently.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, don't. Yeah, where are you gonna go? Let's get closer to the equator. Got to get closer to the equator to get away from the snow. 3, affordable cost of living. 4, con, limited Job opportunities is one downside in living in Buffalo is limited job opportunities available in
Mm.
certain industries. While the city has a strong healthcare and education sector, other fields may have fewer options for employment. This can make it challenging for individuals seeking specific career paths. 5, vibrant art and culture scene. When I was doing my research, I was surprised to learn that Buffalo has such a artistic, cultural situation, scene going on there. I mean, it was
Okay.
very interesting. 6, traffic congestion. I will 100% agree. I did not like that. I did not like it. Although going to and from the Buffalo Hospital wasn't terrible for the short period of time I was there, but yeah. Although you know what, I lived south of Boston, and Boston traffic is
Bananas.
you want awful traffic? Yeah, come to Boston. And people don't know how to drive, so there you go. It's
Oh,
a fun
yikes.
time. It's a fun time. Just take some Valium and anxiety meds, and you'll be fine. Kidding, not kidding. Oh gosh. Anyhow, proximity to natural beauty, water quality concerns.
Interesting.
One of the drawbacks living in Buffalo is the ongoing concerns about water quality. The aging infrastructure and industrial history of the area has led to periodic issues with water safety. Residents may face water advisories and need to rely on water filtration systems to ensure their water is safe for consumption. This can add an extra layer of complexity and cost to daily living. I would say so.
Makes sense.
Interesting. Pro diverse culinary scene and
Really?
con. Yeah, this is Buffalo. Buffalo. Where else are you going for wings, Angie? I'm just saying. I actually, no joke, I was in the hospital. My poor husband's laying there in the bed. I'm like, okay, this is awful. I got to eat. I can't survive on nothing for like 4 days. I got to eat. So it was a catch-22. The nurses said, okay, there's like the best, buffalo wing place right on the corner. I'm like, you're just saying that? Just like in Elf, the movie. Yeah. They're like, oh, the best coffee in the world. Right? You're just telling me that. And they're like, no, legit. That's like an awesome, and it was in this dive bar looking place. And she's like, but make sure you go out over there when it's daylight out. I'm like, oh, okay.
Thanks for the tip.
Okay, thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
So I'm by myself. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run, And the wings were like, oh, they were so good.
Okay, Buffalo.
They were buffalo wings. They were legit. But it says it offers a plethora, I love that word, plethora, of international cuisines, farm-to-table dining, and innovative culinary experiences, making it a paradise for food enthusiasts.
Paradise.
Man, I wonder if ChatGPT wrote that. And then 10, limited public transportation options. Okay. I feel like a lot of places say that.
Yeah.
We just don't have a good... Let's see. Nicole says she got back to us here with an update. Says I almost don't want to say because I found the perfect place to retire. I respect that. About the inexpensive land. I will let everyone know once I buy it because there's a limited amount of these, and most of them will be city water and sewer. Well, okay, good on you, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Good on you. 110% because that. Yeah, I would keep that one close to the vest. Wouldn't you, Angie?
We don't mind a little secret. We don't
that's like a Lord of the Rings. You're like, oh, precious. I'm not telling anybody.
I love that.
Anybody. I wouldn't. I'll be filling out the referral form by the show. I'll take care of you.
Very cool.
I will take good care of you. Thank you for allowing me to help you. All right, Red says, I don't know if the wings would be worth it if I got robbed. As long as I don't take the wings.
Yes.
Be like, here's my wallet, but don't take the wings.
That's funny, Red.
Oh, man. That's truth. That's the truth.
Yeah,
I know. I don't know, but like who, all right, let's be real. Who carries cash? And if somebody would rob me, I'm like, I mean, my Capital One card, they ping me when I make purchases.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be me. I carry cash.
You do?
I do.
You're old school.
I'm super old school.
You're
Y'all
funny.
don't even know they have I'm also, like, a survivalist also. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I prepare
Har
for the apocalypse.
Oh, we have to talk.
But I'm
I
military.
I'm
I'm like,
intrigued.
so that makes sense.
Oh, that's right. You grew up
Yeah.
military.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What's the
For sure.
best place to live if you're a survivalist?
I'm not gonna tell you.
That's the best answer
Look,
I've ever
Nicole
had.
has a friend in me. Right, Nicole?
Amen. Amen, sister. That you know, that was the right answer. Because every survivalist has been like, oh, she ain't true up survivalist because she just
No?
gave away her bunker. She gave her away
That's
a
right.
bunker. Everybody's flocked
Oh,
to a bunker.
yeah.
Just give me
And
the
you're like,
address
"What
for real.
happened?"
So like
She'll be like, "Hey, Angie."
if we get like 6 feet of snow and like all the science fiction movies start coming true, I
Oh,
need a place to go. So let me know where you're at, please.
I'll tell you behind the scenes.
I'll leave my kids at home. No, I won't.
I'm like, "Bring those kids. Bring those kids."
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Okay. I wanted to switch gears. And so last week I had Joe Perec on.
Okay.
And we were talking, and Joe he, thank goodness, is not, hasn't been directly affected by the fires, but he lives like 25 minutes away
Wow.
from the, oh gosh, begins with an E. I'm having a mind block right here. It north of the Palisades, because he's just east of LA.
Okay.
Oh, for crying out loud. It'll come to me. But anyways, he had some great insights about, what's happening. And, and we talked a lot about, what needs to happen, what is going to happen with all these people? What's
Yeah.
going to happen with all these displaced people? And this article popped up a couple days ago, and unfortunately there's a lot of people that are, they're not cash rich. They
Mm-mm.
can't just, they're not like Mel Gibson. They can just go out and buy,
Yeah.
build another house,
Yeah.
right? They can just drop everything. And a lot of these people that had, all their equity invested in their house, and some of them lost their house insurance. So
I know.
I don't know how they recover. I don't know how they come back. But the ones that financially can, you're talking about Pacific Palisades, a pretty, you know,
Oh,
wealthy area. They're moving to the Northeast. They're
okay.
moving to the Northeast. It says an uptick in LA residents moving to the Northeast as new fires burn, and officials warn of Santa Ana winds. That fire's not over, folks.
Uh,
It keeps going and going. It's just awful. It says and I'm going to put the Red Cross information on the screen after this, so they need all the help they can get. It says as the catastrophic wildfires continue to rage in Southern California, some LA residents are not waiting around to see if their city survives. I mean, I'll be honest, Angie, Joe and I were talking. It's like you have an entire neighborhood that's gone. Like,
Jeez.
even if your house survives, what are you going to do?
Just
Now you're
you?
going to be living in construction for the next 3 years? It's going to take how long it takes to build a neighborhood down in
Yeah.
your area with all the new construction.
Yes.
Now add on the time frame for cleanup.
That's years.
And not only standard cleanup, we're not talking like normal vacant raw land infrastructure. We're talking about contaminated soil and debris. We're talking about however deep the Department of Environmental Protection says that they have to dig down to get everything that melted, every piece of plastic, every piece of chemical, that has contaminated that soil.
Yeah.
It's going to take
Years.
years, and people are not, if they can afford it, they're out of there. So it says Ryan Serhant. You know Ryan Serhant, not
Oh,
personally,
yeah,
but you
from the
know who he
show.
is, right? He's he's up in Manhattan, very successful agency up there, up in New York City, and he did an interview a week ago and said that he says that people are calling and they're
Mm.
relocating. He says on Thursday, he says, let's see here, his real estate survey started getting calls from agents in and around LA saying they have clients interested in relocating to the East Coast. He said on Thursday that picked up. Obviously on Friday it became worse and worse. We've been,
Mm.
and this was like probably Thursday after the when the fires revved up on Tuesday. Was it like right 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Tuesday today. Um, he says obviously on Friday it became worse and worse. We've been fielding those calls all through the weekend, and we're starting facilitating rentals. But now those are about to turn into purchases. He
Wow.
says that he's been hearing from clients that the wildfires became the final straw. And I wondered about this. The final straw
Mm.
that pushed them to take the plunge and leave California for good. They are moving
Wow.
to Connecticut, New Jersey. Our friend Jackie
Mhm.
Baker, she's already crazy busy with
Busy,
people
busy,
wanting,
busy.
oh, they're selling, people are just buying property like crazy in northern New Jersey where she's at. But parts of Long Island, I had a referral, some folks that sold a property on Long Island, and I was floored on how
Yeah.
much over asking they got. And we're not talking mansions here. It's just high
Mhm.
demand. The Hamptons,
Yeah.
New York City, and across Florida, which I thought was interesting.
That is interesting, especially since Florida's having a lot of things going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There was so I was watching Jackie's live stream um last week before she had Paul Likens from down there, Palm Beach, on her live stream, and he was talking about the state of the market down there, and
Mhm.
it's bonkers, in terms of properties taking longer period of time. I've noticed that with some of the referrals that I've connected folks with down there that are
Yeah.
people are it's challenging. Properties are starting to stack up,
Mhm.
pre pandemic levels and taking longer to sell.
It's very interesting.
Hmm. Um, it says even before the fires overwhelmed LA, people have been leaving California in droves. Well, that's Cali.
Yeah, that's been for a minute, you know?
Yep. Well, they're coming down to. Well, let me ask you actually, since I got you cornered. Um, People leaving California.
Yes, and they're calling
Ha-
Angie.
Are they calling you? Are you seeing an increase in calls for for
Yeah.
for have you seen any anything since the fire started with people looking for rentals,
Mhm.
purchases? Has there been an increase? I mean, I don't know what part of, or do you know which part of Texas are they gravitating towards?
Yeah, so in the last couple weeks, my phone's been ringing specifically for folks who are looking to relocate from California. Not that that's odd in any way because that's a typical norm, but even more so now, and it makes sense. I just spoke to clients who are moving here with their kiddo who just they can't take it anymore. It's too much, too risky, and have decided to relocate to the Austin area. And a lot of folks choose the Austin area if they're in tech.
Yep.
They're choosing Houston if you're in healthcare or the oil business, renewable resources, and then Dallas for finances. So if you're in the financial industry,
Interesting. I
San
wonder.
Antonio, not as much because that's more of a military city.
Yep.
Hmm.
I wonder if they see the weather report you guys have and are like, "What the heck are we signing up for?"
Well, that part.
They're like,
Hopefully,
"Okay,
this is one day.
so what exactly is this white stuff, and
Yeah, I know. Oh
why do I
my
have to wear a
kids.
coat?"
You guys, everybody gets so excited. So they were outside. It didn't last very long. I'd probably say maybe 6 hours or so, and then the sun came out and melted everything. We're supposed to be back in the high 50s, everyone.
Wah,
Um,
wah. Well, kids
I
got a
know.
snow day at least, right?
Yeah, one day off.
um, the article goes on to say, it says the trend of them leaving California in droves started, well, during COVID-19, right? Which we knew about, which we were aware of,
Mhm.
and then continued into last year. This was according to some figures. Nations major moving companies. Data from U-Haul, Atlas Van Lines, United Van Lines released days before the outbreak of the wildfires showed that there were more people moving out of California than moving in. For example, U-Haul reported that outbound customers accounted for 51% of one-way traffic flowing out of the Golden State, while only 49% were inbound.
Okay.
Very, very interesting. So who knows? And actually, so I'm going to pull this up again because I wanted to just. So for those that are watching who want, I know I'd asked Joe about this in terms of like, because there's everybody, like in this day and age, you got to be careful in who you donate to, what you give money to, and what you send things to, and all the things. And he said go with the Red Cross. Okay. He said go with the Red Cross, and whether you're in the if you have the ability to send items, emergency items, baby food, diapers, clothing. I mean, these people have nothing. They have nothing. Gift cards, whatever. Or just money. So all of the, if you want to volunteer even. So check out the American Red Cross website directly. Don't do it. Don't respond to a text. No. Nowadays, you gotta
go to the site.
Just so crazy. Site. What's that?
Go to the official site.
Go to the official site. You got to absolutely. So Donnie says, I carry cash too as of late. You got a buddy. After my debit card chip died and I couldn't access money, never again. You know what? I typically carry 2 cards. Plus I have my Apple Pay in my phone and on my watch. So like, I backups to my backups in case one of them doesn't work, so that I'm not, stuck. But yeah, 100%. I know I feel it's weird carrying cash nowadays. When I travel, I tend to carry a little bit of cash, and and I always feel weird. You're like secretive. You're like don't show anybody how much. It's like somebody's gonna come over and grab it out of your hands or something. It's ridiculous. I don't know. It's bonkers. It's absolutely
you need
bonkers.
A little bit inside. And my mom used to say, you gotta have a little coin in your pocket.
Gotta have a little coin in your pocket. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, Angie, we're gonna have to. You know what? You've got me intrigued about this whole survivalist. Couldn't find the word. Mm-hmm. Preparation and mindset.
Oh yeah, I'm getting ready to.
I should have a live stream just about that because I'm thoroughly intrigued.
You should. I'm getting ready to. I'm starting a new garden, which my kids are going to learn how to grow their own foods. Very exciting stuff.
That is awesome. I wish I had the yeah. I'm having a tough time getting the words. The discipline to garden, I probably, because I'm just, all over the place and too many balls in the air or whatever. But I'd love to be in a place where, well, you guys you have to have the right area and the right soil and the right sun and all the things. And I don't quite have that, but
you can control that. I'm again, survivalist. Put me anywhere and I'm going to figure out how to grow. I'm going to figure out, what to do. Yeah, you can grow right where you are. I'll tell you how. And I'm making, listen, y'all, just a side note, if y'all want to know something about Angie.
Listen, everybody come in close. Okay, get a little secrets going on, a little sharing.
I learned how to make my own bread.
There you go. Did you talk to Christina Smallhorn about that?
I haven't done sourdough. She's like the master at it.
Yeah, she is.
So anybody out there, you let me know.
That was such the rage during COVID.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
You couldn't get the yeast packets. I tried because I'm like, I've never made bread in my life, and I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna be like this forever. I gotta know how to make bread. I don't order this big thing from BJ's. Do you guys have BJ's? It's like a Costco place. It's like a food warehouse, and I got this big thing of yeast packets. Never even opened the damn thing, but I have it just in case. Never made bread in my life. Still have never made bread in my life.
I got to send you some of mine.
I would love that. I love to eat. So That's my contribution to society. Is I will eat whatever you put in front of me. There we go. So
Oh my
listen, Angie, you're the
Was that
bomb. That's you. So hey, anybody watching, if you want to know about Austin, check out Angie's channel. Check her out. Look her up. Reach out to her. All the things. Man, you know and you love your
I do.
area like nobody I know. So check out Angie channel. She's the bomb. Bomb diggity bomb. So anyhow, you got anything to add before we sign out? We sign
Your
off for
people
the
are
day.
amazing. Yeah, your folks are always amazing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know what? And yeah, Red says that's great. Bread is the best.
Bread with the bread. Yes.
Red's got the bread. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. You know what doesn't like bread?
What?
My hips. Doesn't like bread too much. Doesn't like bread at all. Tommy does, not my hips.
I know. Oh my gosh.
What are you gonna do? You only live once.
One time.
But anyways, hey guys, thank Angie, thank you for being here. Thanks for everybody being in the chat, chiming in and participating in all the things. Love having you guys here and having these conversations and asking these questions. And hey, everybody have a great week. We'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel. And for more conversation on what the heck's going on in the real estate market, be kind, be safe, stay warm, and be friendly. Seek to understand before you pass judgment. Have a great week, everybody. You dance it out, Angie. Yes.